Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Vanessa Dunn, Guyton, and I am the proud founder and executive director of Hush No More. No More support survivors when they're ready to come forward to share their story, to ask questions, to get resources, or just to have somebody to listen to and show them some love. We also provide training in our communities on what I call the hush topics: sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, child sexual abuse, incest, all of those things that families and organizations have a hard time discussing. We talk about it here on Hush No More Champions. Thank you for joining me. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, so I'm always excited to be busy, but also to talk about some important topics that are going on in our community and how can we be more aware so that we could prevent certain things from happening to us and to also heal when we are going through some stuff. So tonight we have an amazing guest, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Lady Melinda. So let me introduce you to her. Hello,
Hi,
beautiful
everybody.
Lady Melinda.
Hello. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful. I am thankful that you are here with me to decide to hush no more and share your story, which is always a good day for me when somebody wants to share, and especially something so personal. So, first, I want to say thank you, Lady Melinda, that for joining me and for just saying I'm going to share tonight and I'm going to hush no more. And can you tell I'm excited? Like I got all this energy.
Yes, I can. I don't know. We're cutting in and out, so I don't know if it's on my behalf or on my end or your end, but yeah. I'm excited to be here. Again, for inviting me to be part of this dynamic organization, as well as your to be on your podcast tonight. You and I, our organizations, they similar. Yours go little more in depth, however, but I'm thankful to be connected with you. Yeah, I'm very thankful.
Yeah, well, as it comes to organization, we all have levels. So we all have like these specialties that we have that we can help individuals. So I'm excited that I'm able to partner with you and we can grow together. Like we're both growing in our organizations, and that is so important. So today we're going to talk about your experiences as a survivor. And I wanted you just to tell us a little bit about Lady Melinda.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did I cut you off? I'm not. Okay, a little about Melinda Hunter, also known as Lady Melinda Sue. I am the founder and advocate for Grace International Light. We take great pride in representing God and helping people to get beyond the sting of the pain and or trauma that they have experienced. One thing with Grace International Light, we like inspiring people. Excuse me, we like inspiring people to ignite in so that they are able to make an impact within themselves as well as the world. So we have different we do have different functions that we do community wise, and we're just here to serve and help people to be a better version of themselves outside of their experience that go on.
I love it. I love it. I think it's important for us to create an outlet whenever we're a survivor. You don't have to create an organization, but do something to help you on your healing journey. And so that's what you have done with Grace
Yes.
International Light. And so I really like that. And I think it's very inspirational for other people to see what you are doing based on where you started from, where you started from,
Mhm,
and it was
mhm.
not always good. So I want you to go back as far as what you need to just be able to share with us your experiences of how did you get to this place in the military, because this is military trauma, and so I want you to get us to that place where you experienced your journey.
Okay. Well, actually, I have, if you don't mind, I have two that I would like to share. Is that
Yes,
okay?
ma'am. Oh,
I,
share your story. Share your story.
no. Okay. But the first one that I want to share, I was it was actually my very first duty assignment. I'm not going to say exact installation due for confidentiality, and then you know But anyway, I was at my first assignment. At this, I had just graduated. Keeping in mind, for the people that may not understand military jargon, I had just left training, getting ready to start a new job, and then you going in there, so you get processed by someone else of a higher rank. So in the process of me getting in process, by this time we're at day 3, which you winding down because you normally get like about a week to actually in process. So we got to like day. It was a male soldier that was in processing me. I was uncomfortable with it because I'm like, okay, well, why are they putting me with a male rather than a female? But I'm like, whatever. Anybody who knows, when you initially come into the military, a lot of people make a big deal about the E4s, the specialists, because they're saying that, they're proving themselves. They're right next to being a non-commissioned officer. And so you're in good hands and everything. So a long story short, this one particular day, we're doing them processes. It's in the morning. And he says that he needs to pay his light bill. And I was like, okay. And he asked me, did I mind him paying? And I was like, sure. I mean, what am I supposed to say? He's driving, it's his car. So in my mind, I didn't know any better. And so he said, well, golly, in his armrest, he played it off real good. He looked in his armrest and then he says, golly, I left it at the house. You mind if you go by the house and I pick it up? I'm like, I don't care. So we get there at the apartment, and then he was like, "Well, he's like, come here and get my bill. I know I left it in here, and so you can go ahead and have it." So I was like, "Okay." So I just sat down. So then he calls me, and I was like, "Okay, he's calling me." So I get right there at the end of the door because I didn't quite right, and so I got right there at the door. I didn't like go like I'm going into the room, fast forward. I just went like I was at the doorway. And he was laying back on the bed with his penis in his hand. I turned around so fast, I turned around fast because it was totally unexpected. This man had never made any kind of passes at me or anything. But in all of that being said, I still kept quiet about it. Why? Because people made a big deal out of specialists. And this particular person was a so-called stud. So people looked high, over, under. And in the end, I ended up creating a very hostile environment. And what made it catch people's attention was the fact that I had gotten to the point where, like, we would be in the motor pool or we would doing maintenance or whatever the case may be. And I would just, I need you to go over here. You get it yourself. So when I say I had became very bold, I was very bold and I was very mad. And so because I was very mad, that's why I was able to just lash out. Because my mind was, I'm going to tell what you did. So, but then in the meantime, so I did eventually have to tell my squad leader. And my squad leader and platoon sergeant, they apologized to me over and over and over. And they said, why didn't I say anything? Well, he told me not to. And in fact, he said, I better not say anything because I'm a specialist and I got a lot riding on the line. I'm getting ready to go to this school and that school. So I'm new to the military. I didn't know. But then it just got to a breaking point and I exploded and to the for high-ranking people. And so at that point, I was able to share. But that just goes, I wanted to share this particular one for people. If you're going into a new establishment, maybe you're just getting into the military or going into the military. If it does not have to be, well, if you have an uncertainty on the inside, then don't do it. Because that's your inner being speaking to you. That's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. So listen to that voice on the inside.
For me, I am glad that
and so go ahead.
I am glad that you shared that. And I did want to clarify some of your story for individuals who are not familiar with the military. And one of them is to really explain what a specialist is. And so we're not a private, you're not a sergeant, you're like right here with them some responsibility, but not all the responsibility. So that is that leadership role where they're about to give you the responsibility of becoming a sergeant, and they let you do a lot of things that a sergeant would do, but you're not getting paid. So it's like that lower level within the organization. And then when she says squad leader and her first sergeant, when you're saying like a platoon leader, that is your supervisor that will be like in a normal organization. That is your middle level management that you would go to when you want to report something. And so she did use the proper chain of command, which is like the proper way that we're supposed to report things in organization, but when she was ready. And so I like a lot of times when I'm talking to a civilian population, they're like, well, what is that? I don't understand what that part means. So I try to explain just who the people are in the story. And it's hard to really go through this and experience this. And even though there was any penetration, how did you feel, Lady Melinda, even though he didn't penetrate you? Do you still feel violated?
I was disgusted. I did because I don't want to say he made me, but he deceived me into thinking I was just going to look at some pictures. So it was very deceptive. But instead, rather than looking at pictures, I'm looking at his thing, and it actually disgusted me because when I left out, so I ran out of the apartment. I was new to the area. I had no idea where I was going. I didn't even know where, because I know we made crooks and turns. I didn't even know how to get to the main street. If I would have gotten to the main street, what direction was I supposed to go in? So yeah, so it's like I was stuck. And at that point, once he got himself back together, whatever, and I said, I want to go back to the job. I want to go back. Well, we still got no. I want to go back to the job. And so when I still have some more processing to do, paperwork, getting my paperwork done, getting stuff done. Paperwork, doing personal affairs information. I made a request from the female. As a matter of fact, like you were saying, you have your team leaders, you have your squad leaders, and this, that, and the others, team leaders and stuff. So I asked somebody, my request to my squad leader was, which I knew the female, they were the same rank, and it was a female, and she finished in processing me. And it went on from there. So it was a process, but he got, and he did get what was coming to him, and he did. And so as far as him having his promotional status and promotable status and stuff, all that went away. And I can honestly say I did not feel bad, because in my mind, he was conducting himself in a manner to lead anybody. Because if I would have let him got away with it, then who would have been the next person? Not to mention how many people were before me. So a lot of time when you get to hit people where they, where the wall, male ego and stuff, they don't like that. So
I am proud of your leadership because they did something about
it. I feel bad for the choice that I made in the end.
Yeah, I'm proud of your leadership for what they did for you. And I wanted to know, did you have any embarrassment or shame? Like, did you blame yourself?
You good?
Did you hear me? I said, did you blame yourself?
Yeah. In the beginning, I did. Sorry. In the beginning, well, I guess yes, I did. For like, I would say like maybe a 10%, for the mere fact that I wasn't comfortable, and I still allowed myself to be deceived. So I was ashamed of that. Okay, Linda, you should, Linda, why didn't you have sense enough to know that all I had to do was go into the information? So, but at the time I wasn't thinking about that. I just wasn't thinking about that. you got somebody that's taking you around, and therefore they should have your best interests at heart. But I realized he did not have my best interests at heart. So therefore, that's when I figured out it wasn't my fault. He took advantage of a innocent situation and made it terrible.
How did you overcome that shame? I think it's important for us to share in that moment. How did you move past that? How did you
Well, my initial growth was when I was able to lash out at him. I know it was an environment, but at the same time, that gave me an opportunity to release. I might not have released the right way in my mind at that given time, but at the same, it was like a twofold part. I felt like there were going to be consequences. However, because of what I had experienced, I didn't care. So that was my first step of being able to release, because then it got to the point where I just didn't care who knew. So I talked to my chain of command. After talking to the chain of command, necessary measures were taken that made me feel better and that I was protected and that my voice actually did count. I just should have said something sooner than later. As a matter of fact, after that particular situation, that particular person had to give training for everybody as an eye opener for him, as part of his what do they call it in the military? But corrective, as a means of like corrective training. So therefore, he had to give the training based on the fact that was like a two-part. He would have received additional training by studying to be able to prepare and give the class, and at the same time, by me being able to move forward with exposing him to what he has said and what he had done, he was able to, at this point, he's getting the repercussions from what he did. So he was actually able to give the training from both aspects of what it was before he committed the act, as well as what it was after he committed the act. Now, if it did any good later on, I don't know. But in either case, it was a good thing. And I saw it was good for me. And it wasn't good for him because he lost all his status. But at that point, my mind was, I just needed to move on. And the repercussions were, I was satisfied in the end. Can you hear me?
I can't. You're going in and out.
Oh,
There's a delay, so I'm allowing you to finish before I say something. Because you're going in and out.
So yeah, it's just
that
and
was
I did receive some additional counseling. They did have me to go to the hospital and they set up some sessions for me, and I was good because it gave me another way to totally release At that point, I was able to release in a positive manner opposed to releasing in a negative manner, like I did the initial lashing out.
Right. Yeah.
So it became control. I was able to control it and be healed from it. And as a matter of fact, I could actually be around him and not feel any kind of whatever or regrets or anything. Okay. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear
Yes.
you, but it's like a
Now the
delay.
second one is the one you and I talked about previously. So by this point, with this next one, I was actually I was in NTO, so I was like a squad leader. As a matter of fact, I
Now, you
was,
keep going,
which
Melinda.
is
I
like a
think
supervisor.
I really want people to hear
You know,
you.
you have
You're
the,
going in
like
and
you were
out.
saying, you have the team lead, and then you have the floor manager. Well, you have the floor manager, and then you have the shift manager and general manager, as it goes up and up. So from the aspect of the civilian as well as the military, at this point I was a non-commissioned. I was part of leadership.
All right, y'all. Melinda computer is going in and out, so she's going to leave out and come back in because her story is so phenomenal. I don't want you all to miss it. So hopefully she can get the technical difficulties together and come back in. But it just seems like her story is so phenomenal. It keeps being blocked. And so it is so difficult. Latoya, am I going in and out as well? I couldn't hear Melinda for some reason. And thank you for joining us again. So, while Melinda is out, it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and so I want you all to be aware of all the different activities that has been going on all month in your area. Check out SAM activities. You'll hear it. It'll say SAAM. See what's going on in your neighborhood to find out some great events here in Columbia, South Carolina. We are actually going to have an event on Saturday called Stump Out Crime. It is during National Crime Victims Week. We are going to support survivors, families, the community, and bring them together because we believe that with love and just information, we can prevent a lot of crime from happening. And so we are working together with Rediscover Me, Visions of Women, um, my sister's voice. She did that foundation, and it's one more. Rediscover Me. Did I say Rediscover Me? And Restoration and Purpose for Women. We're joining together and partnering with Benedict College to put on an amazing event. So if you are in the area, please stop by at Benedict Football Stadium on Saturday. Rain or shine, we do have a space inside, but we don't think that it's going to rain after 8 a.m. So it should be a beautiful day. And we hope that you come out because it is so important for us to give information out on what do you do if you have been a victim of a crime or to prevent you from becoming a victim of a crime. We'll have free food. We're giving out brand new clothes donated by Versona, purses, jewelry, all kind of stuff, y'all. We got kid fingerprinting, 4 bounce houses. It's going to be an amazing day. We even have car clubs, changing lanes car club is going to be there, takeover, 3MC. So it's going to be like a very cool day. So bring your family out, have a great time. And I hope that you come and look in your area if you're not here in South Carolina on some things that you can do. And also on May 29th in Columbia, we are having a holistic healing from addiction retreat. No matter if your addiction is alcohol, drugs, if it's sex, if it's shopping, you can figure out natural, holistic ways for you to heal. And it's going to be at the Sesquicentennial Park. Very natural, a beautiful day. And I'm really excited about that. So if you're interested in finding out just healthy ways how we can heal, you could join us there. And then on August 13th through the 14th, we are having the Niagara Falls Freedom and Releasing Retreat, which is going to be the bomb as well. We are going to just have a day of a releasing. It'll be all women. We are going to Niagara Falls and meditate and have a butterfly release. And on the second day, if you have your passport, you can go to Canada with us and we're going to go shopping, stop at some museums, eat some food, and just have a good day on that Sunday. Or if you want, you can go to church. We have a great church there in that area that you could go and worship and just release and get away from your family, your kids, your spouse, and come join us on a phenomenal day. We would love for you to come out and join us. Then we have our domestic violence walk, October 15th. Please mark your calendar, save the date. If you want, come to South Carolina. If you are far away and join us in our walk, it is going to be phenomenal. It is at Riverfront Park. The theme for the year in my life and that I want to impact others with is healing. Healing is so important. And I use water to heal. I use meditation to heal. So we will be at the walk and we are going to have fun event. Everything is free. You'll get a free t-shirt, free food, resources. There'll be vendors there. And just going to be a great day. So please mark your calendar October 15th. And you can also walk in your own neighborhood if you would like. We would love for you to join us and walk in your area or with us because it's important that we raise awareness and let people know that with love and kindness, we could do so much for the community and so much for survivors and not make them feel like crap when they come forward, but just to accept them for where they are in their life and how can we be of assistance. So welcome back, Lady Melinda. Can you hear me now?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Man, I mean, when we want to heal and we want to share our stories, sometimes all these roadblocks come in, and I don't want you to feel discouraged or even feel any slight because things happen, technology happens, and we're gonna get this story out tonight. So, all right,
Got it.
so you are brand new in the military. You got tried and he really did play you because you're like, I'm young, I don't know. And we all know statistically ages 18 to 24 is when sexual assault really happens to individuals, whether in the military or in college. So we know that statistically. And so you fall right in that range of it happening to you. So
Mhm.
fast forward in your life, what is this next thing that happens to you?
But this time I'm stationed overseas. I'm not going to say again, I'm not going to mention the area. It's just I had to fly over water in order to get there. And by this time, I am part of the leadership role. I'm a non-commissioned officer at that time, which is like a supervisor. I actually had team leaders under me and stuff. So just like every human being, we have annual exams, and especially when you are in the military, they're mandatory. So anyway, I went to my exam as usual. They do your vitals and everything. Then from the vitals, they take you to another room, and then the next room is where you actually dress accordingly for whatever exam that you're getting ready to have done. And so a female comes in, female gets me and take me to where I'm supposed to go, tell me what I need to, put on, take off, or whatever the case may be, to dress accordingly. And in the meantime, I'm waiting for the doctor to come. My mindset is, oh my gosh, I do not like these exams. I'd be glad when they come, doing it so I can leave. Well, in the meantime, the doctor does come back. Well, the assistant comes in first. The assistant comes in, and then the doctor comes in immediately behind her. The doctor says something to her, and she leaves out of the room. So in the meantime, I'm sitting there because I'm waiting for the assistant to come back, because in my mind, he's not doing anything without the assistant being there. However, stirrups and everything like we're supposed to do. And so at that point, I asked him, are we going to wait for your assistant? He said, no, she'll be back. We'll just go ahead and get started so we can get finished. And I was like, okay. So in the process of, doing the examination, gadgets are used to start off in the beginning. But as we know, for a female, we all know when it comes to the pelvic exam, we had to actually use physical body parts and hands. And normally you can tell because it's like 2 pushes on one side, 2 pushes on the other side, and it's a wrap. Well, I felt more than one push, but the last one actually tore me. And so I remember I scooted back because I felt the stuff move. Like I felt it. And in my mind, I'm like, this don't feel right. Why is it taking all of this? So I don't know if I'm going into the shock or whatever word is applicable as to what is going on, or just being in denial, trying to figure out what is actually going on, because I know how a pelvic exam normally is, how it's normally done. And so when he tore me, I scooted back and I was told to slide back down. And I said, I don't think so. And so then I was told to slide back down so that he could finish what he was doing. And then I asked, well, what are you doing? Just slide back down. So I was like, okay. Keep in mind, the female assistant has not made it back yet. So I go ahead and I slide back down and I'm like, what in the world? So at this point, all I can say is I went into a mental blockage or whatever the case. And so he said, I remember him saying, okay, I'm done. You can get dressed. And I felt so dirty. I felt dirty. I felt betrayed. In my mind, like, where is this person? What just happened to me? I don't understand why I don't understand why I'm feeling like this. I don't understand. I'm like, I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm like, what just happened? That's what I'm saying to myself over and over again. What just happened? Why is this happening? Why didn't the assistant come back in? All these questions just going through my head, and at the same time, I just wanted to get out of there. So that's what happened. And so then I went back to my living quarters, and I showered and stuff, which that's what anyway, that's what we do. And I was in excruciating pain. So as the night went through, I want to say it was probably like, I know it was after midnight. I want to say it was probably like about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just couldn't take the pain anymore. So I went back to the hospital. Being overseas in this particular area, the emergency room, well, the hospital and the sick car, all of it is one building. And so I go back. I go to the emergency room. They ask me what the problem is. I tell them what's going on. As the doctor comes in, this is when I was like truly humiliated and I did not have an answer to the question. Well, I did, but it didn't. By this time, it's not even 24 hours. Go in and they checked me, and I was asked, so who have you been with? And I said, nobody. Oh, you've been with somebody because you've been torn. Well, I know that. And at this point, I'm crying because I'm in pain. I'm crying because I'm embarrassed. I'm crying because I'm trying to figure out what's going on with me. And so with this, now they're doing rape kits on me and they're testing me for all these different STDs and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I did go to the doctor. So then they went to look further in my records so they could see that I was there, that I had been there a few hours prior. And the doctor said, I see where you came in, but this doesn't look like something a doctor did. So I'm going to ask you again, who else have you been with? And I hadn't been with anybody else. And so they gave me some pain meds, gave me some quarters, and sent me on my way. So by this time, like 2 days go by because I'm in quarters. So I'll say, I think they gave me 48-hour quarters, if I remember correctly. Like, you stay home sick code, like you stay home because you're sick at a doctor's permission. And so I had to go back to work. And in my going back to work, at this point, I'm being questioned based on my quarter slip. At the same time, I had to go back for a not checkup, but a it's like they were to check the status of whatever it is treatment that you're getting. They're checking the status. I can't think of the right word right now.
Follow up.
There you go, follow up. And so I go in for my follow up, and here I am getting asked all these same questions again. And by this point, by this time, I'm like, how is it that I have been invaded, but I'm being treated like I did something wrong? I'm like, you you're treating me like I did something wrong. I'm trying to figure out what has happened. I'm the one in all this pain. I'm humiliated, and by this time, when I went to my follow up, I didn't see my normal doctor, so I'm seeing somebody else. And when this happened, here I am telling the same story over and over and over again. So by this time, um, um, what do you call it? The person who held military to file their claims and to file a case and all this different stuff. So I do make a complaint. Long story short, once the investigation started, my doctor's report for that particular day as to what happened to me, well, during my exam, disappeared. So now they asked me in reference, do I want to do a formal complaint? And I said yes. So now we're trying to move forward for the formal thing. And the doctor, the area that we were in, they took care of him. Now, by this point, I'm just mad with the military, period, and especially because they're here to help us. They're here to, if we have a health challenge, that's who we go to. If we're doing something annually, that's who we trust to do the right thing. So by this time, it was almost time for me to PCS. And after all of this happened, my mindset just went to, I just want to go. I don't care. Everything is not working out. In my mind, everybody was covering up everybody. The action and everybody's getting defended except me because of the fact of the records disappearing.
Darn it. I should have known it was gonna kick her back out. One thing about StreamYard, you definitely have to have a stable connection or it will not last. But I want to know what happened. Come on back, Lady Melinda.
Yes.
All right, you're back. You're back. The last thing we heard was that you just wanted to leave. Like you was frustrated because all your records were
Yes,
missing.
I just wanted to. Yes, all records are missing and everything. And so then when I got to my new duty assignment, by this point I was being seen weekly for depression, and I don't recall being suicidal, but I do know I was at a very low point because when it was time for me to do my in processing at the medical center, it immediately brought back in process with them. Because in my mind, what has happened, they don't have my best interest at heart. So why do I even have to in process with them? Why can't I choose who I want to see or who I want to be my doctor that's outside of the military? Because I felt like my chain of command disappointed me. I felt like they didn't take up for me. I felt like the people that did the check, and even people that somebody had to hit the delete button. I don't know who hit the delete button, but somebody had to hit the delete button. And as we know, when it comes to the digital world, I don't care how much you hit. In the process of the investigations and everything going on, how is it that somebody can so-called just vanish? And I just wanted to leave. And so I did get to the point where I could see someone at the hospital and stuff at my new assignment. Um, but at that point, I had to go to the hospital. It was 3 people in the room with me. So therefore, if one did have to leave, another one was already right there. There wasn't a matter of, okay, hold on while I go get another position to have to go through that. So I was able to control at that point. Again, I didn't trust anybody. So I did what I had to do to trust me, to be able to feel like, okay, I'm safe enough to at least get this appointment now. So yeah.
So for you, you felt like they covered it up. Well, ain't no felt like they did.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
covered
they
it
did.
up.
They
They
covered it
deleted
up.
it.
Yeah,
Right. The doctor
yeah.
actually could have deleted it. The doctor could have went in and deleted your medical record.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
that they took your investigation
Because
serious?
even with uh, um I would say no, because when I look back at it now, and when you look at the scenario or the situation, and being where I was, let's just say the statistics of with the ratio was less women, for me to receive the different comments and everything that I was receiving at the time. I'm trying to figure. I would just say, I don't know. I don't have the words for it right now. But I do know I'm not in that bad place anymore. I do know I'm not in that isolation anymore. I do know it's not my fault. I do know that I can go to a doctor now. However, now I will say this, even as up to this day, I will not have a male doctor in those particular. As a matter of fact, I really don't go to a male doctor, period, because I have the right to make that choice, and that is my choice. Because we have to set boundaries. So for me, that's a boundary for me, so that I don't send myself back into a relapse or whatever when it comes to depression and isolation and all that different stuff.
I respect you for setting a boundary. I think that's important that we set a boundary for ourselves and say, I don't want a male doctor. You know, especially for what happened to you. And they did cover it up. They did try to hide it. And you were torn. Like it was evidence that you had been raped and they didn't do anything about it. And what makes me upset is that he was probably still practicing because they didn't do anything about it. So would he do it again? And I was proud of you for going forward and reporting it regardless, because that's still taking your control back, even though they didn't do anything about it. Um, how do you get through something like this so tragic? What else did you do that changed your mindset about going to the doctor?
I prayed about it. In realness, I prayed about it, and God give me strength to set my boundaries and to be strong in my boundaries. To Yeah, that was the biggest thing, to be strong enough to handle setting my boundaries, because sometimes I know I have set boundaries, but this is a boundary that has been established, and to this day, yeah, is yeah, because even now when I go to the doctor, when I go to the hospitals for the military, I don't, it's in my record. So, and on that note, so if there is a female that has experienced that while they were in the military, you have the right to say, I do not want a male doctor. And from that point on, your record would actually get tagged. Your record would actually get tagged. So I don't care if they pull you up on the computer. I don't care if they actually looking in your file, whatever. Your record is tagged, and a male doctor cannot see you. Now, I will say also, this is like I guess, information for now and for time to come for other people, because the medical doctors for the military are short staffed. They will still try to assign you with a male doctor if you are a female and you have experienced trauma. You do not have to say, yes, I'll go ahead and do it.
Right.
Why? Because at that point, you've allowed yourself to undo the boundaries that you have set in place. The system has no right to take that boundary from you. And so they'll make it happen. They'll make it happen, but we just have to be strong enough to stand. Once we establish that boundary, no compromise for discussion, because we're not compromising with there's no negotiation nor compromise. So let's move on to the next thing. I'm not doing it.
Thank you for that advice, because sometimes we'll just be like, well, okay, you don't have anybody, but they got to find somebody. This is a big deal. And you know that I'm coming to my appointment. And I like that you're saying, tell
Exactly.
them that you need to find somebody, that I will not accept having a male to do this to me and for my annual exam. And we don't want to be triggered again. And actually,
Exactly.
I don't really care for male doctors either. None have done anything to me, right? But after being
Yes,
a survivor of any type of sexual trauma, even domestic violence, or
exactly.
child sex abuse, you don't want to be touched by certain individuals. And so it just reminds me to be able to tell people that they have a right. They got a right to say, this is who I would like to see at a doctor's office. So thank you for that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, um, it happened here. So they switched me. So I was like, you know what? So I'm thinking it's with the doctor, female doctor they assigned me to. Well, the day of my appointment, my doctor couldn't come in. So they had somebody else who just was a male doctor to so-called do my appointment. So he get ready to, so he comes into the room and I looked at him and I said, no. He said, well, I'm just going to ask you some questions. I said, no. He said, but yeah, but your doctor's gone and we can go ahead and get your appointment done now, which would be the simple annual exam. I said, no. I just kept saying no. And so then by this attitude, um, and was saying, well, you're going to have to reschedule this time, and you know it's going to be several months before you can get seen, saying all this derogatory
Right.
stuff to try to make me change my mind and settle. But I refused to settle. I said, okay, I'm going to touch me, and I'm not going to answer any of your personal questions. And one thing also that people, since we already know, do your research and then turn around and ask the doctor, the doctor, can you get outsourced? Find you a good doctor, even social services. Do your homework and then tell them you want to get outsourced to this particular group. They'll do it. They'll do it. Ask me how I know. I did it. So they'll do it.
Yeah. If you don't have male doctors, then I need you to find me a female doctor. I need you to find me one. Period. Thank you. Is there any other advice that you can give to women and men? Because you never know who it can happen to. What is some advice that you would have
There you go.
outside of doing the
There you
research,
go.
like you said?
That's
What
it.
can people do?
Take ownership to what has happened to you. Not saying that you're taking ownership that it was your fault, but just take ownership as to I acknowledge and I know that this right here happened to me. Once I was able to do that, then I was able to ask the questions, what do I need to do now to get beyond this? And I know now also if it means, well, you know, I know now I'm not going to say if it means, I had to actually look in the mirror. So that was my first step, was taking ownership to it. And it took me more than a day to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say it, you know, it happened overnight, because at this point I was seeing some, I had my doctors that I was seeing, and I would say, I would say roughly it took about 2 months for me to start taking ownership as to what happened, because there's a difference between, because in going through that, that's when I learned that there was a difference in actually getting over something I had done for several years, was I suppressed it. I didn't get over it. So once I was able to look into the mirror and take ownership to what happened to me, I was able to go forward by releasing it then, because it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. So that was a growing process for me. Yeah. And so
For
now
me,
I just want to share with everybody that, you know, if you know somebody, tell them if they don't want to talk, if they don't feel like they don't have the courage to talk to somebody, then guess what? Look in the mirror. You be the first person to tell yourself what's going on the inside, because that will help that will help you get confidence, male or female, to give you confidence to be able to say it so that it can totally come out of you.
love it, love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's not always easy. Every time we share, we remember something else,
And
and it's
then
a
journaling. Journaling
journey.
is very therapeutic. If you like music, listen to some music and just don't think about anything. But you can't let your mind wander,
Mhm.
because the negativity will always try to seep in. But look in the mirror. That's your first step. Well, your second step. Look in the mirror and tell your story to yourself. The second step of getting it out. First step is acknowledging it. Second step is getting it out. What better way to look in the mirror and tell on yourself as to how you felt and how it made you feel?
So I love that. I think it's important for us to look at ourselves, to acknowledge it. You do have to acknowledge that there was a problem, that something happened to you. Not that it's your fault, but that this did happen, and now I have to do something to heal. And then that helps us move forward. Then we can decide what trajectory we want to go. We can also
Can't
decide
hear you.
if you can't hear me, but I think it's important that we heal and that we acknowledge and heal and go to the next level. Did you want to share how people can contact you?
So at this time, I would like to say thank you. I can now. Yeah.
All right, Lady Melinda, we're going to go ahead up.
Sure, you can reach me. Well, my website, which I saw it going by earlier, but the website is Grace International Light, and it's spelled GraceInternationalLite.com. Okay, you can reach me like that. I'm also on Facebook by organization Grace Light, with Grace International Light. Sorry about that. And you can private message me or DM me. I think that means drop message me. Anyway, you can get in contact with me in private messenger. And I will most definitely get back in contact with you. I encourage you to, as a matter of fact, go on the website. You'll see all that we do, who we are, and um, we have books and stuff on there where you can purchase, and then you can actually leave reviews, and I would greatly appreciate that. For you go.
All right. So you all heard from beautiful Lady Melinda Sue. Thank you so much for tonight. Hopefully you were able to pick up some of her story because she really did have a powerful testimony where she is now and even starting her organization. So look her up, attend some of her events. She is phenomenal, and I think you will really enjoy just learning from her, some of the events that she have, and just going to the next level. So thank you again, Lady Melinda. Remember that Hush No More is here for you. We provide free counseling to the community. We also have some amazing events. So check us out at hushnomore.org. We would love for you to just participate, even with art therapy on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. It's virtual. So join us. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you all so much for an amazing, amazing podcast with Lady Melinda Sue. Peace and blessings.